You're listening to Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall on CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie, who's over at the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, before we do anything else, because this will lead into my question in a sec, I want you to hear part of, and I don't know if you heard it this morning, Francis Scarpaleggia with Andrew. But here's just a clip. This one kind of stood out to me. This is Francis Scarpaleggia, so the Liberal MP, of course, representing the West Island riding of Lac St. Louis, explaining partially why he supported Bill C-13 and this part here. Brian?
Well, it affords a francophone the right to work in French, but it doesn't take away the right of an anglophone to communicate in English.
Yes, it does. Jim?
Yeah. No, listen. This is. What can I tell you? You know, I was intrigued that Mr. Scarpaleggia actually put together an explanation because you sent out the email yesterday. And normally, when you have to explain yourself, that's the first sign that there's a problem. But you know, but this is what I find so vexing in all of this is that nobody's hiding anything. Bill 96, which is an illegal law, and I mean that literally, has a built-in notwithstanding clause, has been inserted, as I said in the past, like some kind of vaccine, presumably against the use of English, within the Official Languages Act. And the Trudeau Liberals are thumping their chests and saying this is marvelous and this is great. And one can only presume that the reason they did this is because they're terrified of losing seats in Quebec. Although I think they have really overestimated the weight of Bill 96 in the balance of federal politics. But so listen, if he felt he had to explain himself, that's fine. The big question is, will his constituents believe him? Will the liberals, will the Anglos in the West Island say, oh, now I understand. That's great. Thanks a lot. Because I was getting miffed there for a bit. No, nothing's changed. And it still doesn't change the fact that Anthony Housefather, who's an MP from the same party, stood up and said the precise contrary and aired real, responsible concerns about what had been done with C-13. So, give it 6 months. We'll see who was right.
Fair enough. I was saying, I feel like in making this statement too, he kind of throws Anthony Housefather even further under the bus by saying, well, I'm not going to vote just because my constituents are upset by it, because I think their perception is wrong and the reality of the bill isn't as bad as they actually think it is. So it makes that's not a very good attitude, Natasha, to have towards your constituent. I agree. I'm not going to vote for something because my constituents don't want it. That's your job, bro. Totally.
Oh, they don't understand it, according to him, right? They don't get it. They conflate Bill 96 with Bill C-13. How you can say that one has nothing to do with the other, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but
anyway. maybe come the next election, those constituents may say, well, maybe we'll vote for somebody who does look after our interests.
Yeah. What's the problem with that, though, Jim, is that every other party federally is in favor of this particular amendment. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah, and it's all for the same reason. It is the most shameful truckling to a political expediency created in Quebec, another manufactured crisis in Quebec.
Yeah.
And this, for some reasons, is going to solve it, and it isn't. It won't. But I'll tell you what it does do is it opens the door to further restrictions, because when it becomes clear that this isn't going to be working, simply because the very government that created Bill 96 will turn around and have to find 97 loopholes just to keep the economy going, because let's face it, they want investors, and investors don't need grief. They don't need problems. God knows how many tax dodges they're going to be offering people to come invest in Quebec. You can bet your bottom dollar that Bill 96 will be off the table when they're sitting down actually talking business with overseas investors.
Fair enough.
All right, let's talk about why François Legault felt the need to declare that Michael Sabia is a Quebecer.
Well, because Pascal Bérubé of Parti Québécois a day earlier had said, well, no, there are plenty of good Quebecers who could have filled that job, and no, they're giving it to Michael Sabia. And, he was born in Ontario, God help him. It didn't seem to harm him when he was running the Caisse de Dépôt. It didn't seem to harm him in all those corporate vice presidencies or presidencies that he had. But yeah, it's the same parochial. C'est pas un de nous autres. And here, I guess François Legault had to stand up, had to grab the tribal talking stick and say, no, he's one of us. I guess it was like a scene from Dances with Wolves. No, he's one of the tribe, so don't worry. And he really likes Quebec. And the fact that he made this assessment after talking about a half-hour conversation he'd had with Mr. Sabia, clearly making it clear that he had the job. In the end, okay, fine. Francois Legault has devoted, I think, enough time and oxygen to this another manufactured problem by the Parti Québécois. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that if there are problems down the road with Mr. Sabia's stewardship of Hydro-Quebec, being born in Ontario won't be one of them.
It seems to me, Jim, maybe I heard this wrong. When Pascal Berruet brought that up and we all kind of reacted the same way, he did point out that it was the same Francois Legault who sort of brought up the same kind of thing when Michael Sabia became the head of, Investissement Québec, right? The Caisse de dépôt.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
the time.
But don't forget as well, it's with anything that Francois Legault does, the Parti Québécois is going to hate, not just because they're in the opposition. Francois Legault is a Parti Québécois turncoat. Mm-hmm. And believe me, these people in the Parti Québécois have very, very long memories.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it stretches back to 1759 on a regular basis. But even stuff that happened maybe 10, 15 years ago, they don't forget. So anything Francois Legault does or he signs off on will be vilified by the Parti Québécois. And the fact that Mr. Sabia is this week's flavor, it's not going to change that. But as I say, if there are criticisms of his role as Hydro-Quebec's CEO, something tells me where he was born will not be an issue.
Jim, final thing, I don't want to run out of time. You're not going to tell me you actually think the Quebec 5-on-1 service is a good site, are you?
Oh, no, but what I'm going to say is because, Geneviève Guilbeault, the transport minister, she caught flack for saying, check 511.
Yeah.
Well, I don't go to 511, but I will respectfully submit that I and most of our listeners, if you live in Montreal and you have a clue that you live in Montreal, before you go anywhere, especially this coming weekend, you're either going to go on Waze or you're going to go on Google Maps or whatever program it is. Mine has a female voice, so I just call her Lady. And when she says, go this way and turn right, and I go, thank you, lady. Right? But if you, and it's in real time, guys, and it gives you the real thing. And that many people got caught short last weekend, and I'm sure we'll get caught short this weekend. Well, okay, I understand there are some people out there who probably don't do that. But it's true. You have got to do that now, especially in Montreal, because Transport Quebec, and I'll put Madame Guilbeault to one side, as Rick Lechner has been telling us for decades, the last thing Transport Quebec is concerned about are users of the road network.
Yeah.
So you got to look out for yourself. And so by all means, if our listeners are going out this weekend, and in fact planning on going anywhere, talk to the little lady in your phone and make sure she gives you the right directions. Because if you say, I'm going to take my regular route, and you wind up in traffic for 2 hours, and then you call us on Monday, I got news for you. To a certain extent, you were the author of your own misfortune.
James Mennie, who speaks to his car by calling her lady.
No, it's
Jim,
not my car.
I'm sorry.
It's my phone.
Your phone. Much better.
My car can't talk yet.
Have a good weekend.
You too, guys.